First of all, Neal, we should get your reaction to the FA Cup draw. If you can get past Chester in the replay next week, it's Wigan at home, a League One side. Your thoughts?
Home draw's great. Great for the fans if we can get there. Wigan obviously will be tough. I had them 2 years ago when they were top of the league of League One with Solihull, and we ended up on telly. It was a good game. Went to extra time, both 0-0 in the first game, and we took them to extra time in the second game. So, yeah, it's a great challenge for us. Obviously, it would have probably been perfect to have got a home tie that was even more winnable, or more winnable than that one, because that gave you a better chance of the third round. But as we know, we've got a really tough game next week, and I'm sure Chester feel the same.
Has it been brought up by the squad to tie at the start of the week, but you've now been told that they've got to park that and then sort out Saturday?
Not really. We just focused on the game, did some video analysis on what we did well, what we, last 15 minutes, what we can do better, what caused it, and set about training for the league and the most important part of trying to get points on the board.
Yeah, big match against a side that have been struggling, but since then Chris has taken over, they've picked up. Yeah,
really good last two games. Really impressive. Were excellent against Oldham. Good pace in their side, good movement. There's a lot of players in there I like, a lot of players I've looked at when I was Notts County manager at signing. So I know the threats, and we're getting them at the wrong time. So I mean, we do data and we collect stats on where people should be in the league based on their performances, and I know they were down the bottom, but they're down as sort of a 11th, 12th place team in the league. They just haven't got the points to match their performances.
What's he done then to turn it around so quickly?
God knows what goes on inside the camp, because there's so much that goes on behind closed doors no one sees. But whatever has happened, they've reacted really quickly, and confidence can also be another thing. You go and put in a great performance and beat Oldham 3-0, and they then went with an excellent game plan away to Gateshead, who, as we know, play some great football, and they really caused Gateshead problems with Gateshead's ability to be able to play their normal game. So they've executed their game plan really well, and then they're putting a good performance against Sutton in the Cup. So I'm under no illusions how tough the game's going to be, but we've got to try and stay as competitive as we possibly can at the moment.
Yeah, and the way things have been going for your side, is it even more important at the minute that you do concentrate on your side rather than too much on the opposition?
I think you've always got to get a mixture of both. I think if I had if I was Cookie at Chesterfield and my team was in the place they're in, I would focus totally on my team and not worry so much about the opposition because of the quality of the players. I've got to think where we are, we have to get the balance of us and what we're capable of, what not making that too complicated, and then obviously making sure that we're not chasing the game because we haven't got a clue what to do without the ball. So there's a structure in both. Is it the way I want to play? Is it as attacking as I want to play? No, but I've got to work with the group we've got and try and get the best qualities out of them and make them competitive. And I think we have, because I think I've been here 14 games, I think, including the Cup, and lost 4, Barnet and Chesterfield being 2 of them. We'd lost 4 in our first 7. So I feel like, we're a little bit harder to beat. But then when we lost Depot because of injury and Dan Batty, I think we lacked that little bit of pizzazz, that little bit of creativity, and that's up to other players to bring that to the group, and we need to be better in our forward play.
I think you made a really good comment as well, full time last week after the Chester game. I'm guilty of forgetting this as well, I think, sometimes. But these players, they may have issues, they may not be doing exactly as you want, but they are giving their all on a game-by-game basis.
I think the things I look at as a manager is I work really, really hard to know what sort of game we're going to face. I always start my team talk when I do a video with the lads, or we do match prep on a Thursday with, this is how you'll win this game, because that's the work I've got to do, that's the team I've got to pick, the way I set them up and show where I think we can hurt them, what we've got to do to make sure they're not running over us and stuff like that. And I always start with that, and I felt, even on Saturday against Chester, I know they're a league behind us, but they're in good form, 1-6 on the bounce. If we'd have got it wrong against their diamond, we could have looked a really, really poor team, and I thought we nullified a lot of what they did, and I thought we switched play well and we got into some great areas. At that point, that's when you need to trust the players with the quality. But they're having a go, they're trying to execute the game plan, and I always say, if we work together, I'll give you a game plan, you execute it, we're going to be a lot better than if we don't.
Let's look at your side then. You talked last week, you're hoping to get players in, is that still the case?
Absolutely, I can promise you. we've had one position I talked about trying to get a left back in. It's like a voodoo position to us. I think the 5 players we've really identified and looked into, and all 5, as we started to open up conversations with them, got injured. Literally within that game, the week before, whatever. We've had one sort of, we couldn't get out of where he was, and 4 of the others got injured. So it's a long process, but I know that fans, rightly so, will be looking, going, okay, what are we doing? We've got 2 forwards now. Marshy got called back, all this sort of stuff. We've got new guy in data analysis recruitment. I'm actually going down for a recruitment meeting after this. We are working so hard behind the scenes to get it right, but it's really, really important. The chairman, the chairwoman, chairman have been brilliant. They've really sort of said, come on, let's go and get some players. But if we're going to bring players in and we want to sign them permanently and they want to be our players, they've got to be players that we want next season, that can not only help keep us up this season, but actually be players you look at and go, they can take us to the playoffs next season and beyond. So that's not as easy as just going and get a young loan who, if you get it wrong, you can send him back in a month.
So that's what you're trying to do, actually trying to bring in permanent signings rather than loan and temporary agreements? I
think we're looking at both. If there's a really, really good loan out there that we think massively improves the squad, massively improves the position he's in, then that would obviously be a nice, easy option. But like I said, the marketplace isn't great for that. A lot of the players have gone, they're on their loans. Sometimes with loans, it's young players and you get first loans. And again, it's hard. They're trying to learn on the job, and we're in a bit of a dogfight. So you've got to try and get the balance right. But certainly if we're looking at game changers, where you go, God, look at this team now in a few weeks, few months, whatever, going and signing permanent players probably is the best fit for now. And the owners have been very supportive in that. But we can't make mistakes, if that makes sense. You've seen from the summer, I've got 30-something odd players. We don't want to just collect players, we want good players at the football club, and sometimes you can't get them overnight.
You mentioned Aidan going back to Barnsley. Is that a blow? How do you feel as though that loan move worked for him and for you?
Listen, Marshy's a young lad. Barnsley did a great deal for us. We brought him in for his legs, for his energy, to give us support to our strikers. As I've said to you, having 2 strikers isn't the way I like to roll. I actually like to have 4. Get 2 to run himself into the ground. But even at the moment, with the 2 we've got, you're questioning, can I start them both at the same time? Because if one has to come off, blows up, or gets injured, you're only ever going to be less attacking from that moment on, and you can't sort of play with 2 forwards. So we've got all these decisions to make, but we are working very hard. And top of our list, we've been working hard on a left back, but top of our list is to add some firepower to our team, add creative players to our team. That's top of our list.
Mitch has obviously gone to Hartlepool. It clearly didn't seem to be part of your plans. Just explain that move to us.
Well, I think it's like many players that aren't part of the plans. You have honest conversations with people. It's not a case of not being part of the plans. You pick your team that you think is your best team to win games, and everyone will have different opinions. Fans will, you will. We'll all have a different opinion. That's the beauty of my job. Everyone's got an opinion on it. But I try and do my best for the team and the club and pick the team I want. Mitch and his agent, certainly his agent was pestering me on Sunday saying, we've got this deal, we want to go, blah, blah, blah. And if you can't give him playing time and don't feel like you're going to straight away, then you have to do the right thing by the player as well. And that is, Mitch wants to play football, fair play to him. Same with Ryan Whitley, wanted to go and play football, wasn't in the plans. And also, I've got 30, however many players, I need to trim the squad. It's no good me trying to have a 20-man squad training here and 8 players who can't even train with that. We've got players coming back from injuries now. We need to trim the squad, we need to refine the squad, we need to go with possibly a 24-man squad going forward. And there's going to be some players have to go out, especially if I want to bring in a few.
Yeah, I keep hearing rumours of certain players going out. Are there any more you think before the weekend?
Possibly. There's a couple that have inquired after, 1 or 2 on loan, but no one that's really been sort of on top of the first team. So, but it is what it is. But I can assure you, we have looked. Me and the chairman have sat down, and we have got a process in place, and we have got a plan. We looked at the fixtures coming up, and you've got to be very careful. You're not 4 or 5 weeks down the line and going, blimey, we need snookers here. You've got to be competitive, and we need to add to the squad to be really competitive. So we're working hard on that, and there's, like I say, trying to bring in permanence, trying to bring in players that can really make a difference, that you want here in the summer, you'd be happy if they're still here in the summer, that you want to go forward with, and trying to do it quickly so that you've got them for the games coming up. It's a really, really tough balance.
Let's talk about your team then for the weekend. Are you able to tell us who's going to play in goal?
I know who's going to play in goal, but I'm not able to tell you.
Okay, that's fine. Was that a simple decision then? And did you know who was going to play in goal before David Stockdale came back to play in the cup last week? Because obviously George was his cup tied. Has anything changed in that, or this has always been the plan? You stuck with it?
No, I think obviously you never know, injuries can happen, but David went in the cup because he was back. He was 85% fit, and that's where he is at the moment. He's obviously not a young spring chicken, he won't mind me saying that anymore, but he needs a bit more time between his games. We've got obviously a cup game Tuesday, so it's an easy decision for me to rotate what I think is strong players.
On the opposite side to that then, if you do play George this weekend, does it make it a little bit harder for your defence to sort of like get to know each other a little bit better? I guess you would like continuity if you could do in between the six, rather than one goalkeeper 1 week next match.
But the only reason that is because of the cup, so you want competition for places, and David Stockdale is an unbelievable talker, and surprisingly for his age, George is a very good talker. He thinks very well. So when we train and we do work with the back players and the communication work, both of them go and goal. Rory's hurt his finger at the moment, so Rory's not even training, but both of them go and goal, and both of them take it in turns so that they're there. And David's very supportive to George. I think we've got good goalkeepers, and I think it's going to be, once David gets 100% fit, they can push each other.
Elsewhere, is everyone else available who was available last week? Has anyone come back to be available? Anyone having to drop out?
There's a few that, like Crooksy's just started training back end of the week. We're hoping Maz might get back on the training field, but obviously they need the training and the fitness. Levy's just starting to get back in, but can only do little bits and not bigger pitch stuff. So we're just starting to see some of these duckies back training, but probably needs another week or two to really get himself fine-tuned, and we're pushing him hard. So yeah, it's looking better. Obviously Depo's back. Batty, Dan might be possibly a little while longer, but he's we're just sort of monitoring him and see where we are. But obviously it's great to have Depot back end of last week, got 30 minutes, and we've tried to have a good week with him. So with a bit of luck, all being well tomorrow, I can look at the selection and see where I go.
You talked about the games when you first came to the football club. You're playing all the teams towards the top half of the table. You've now got a spell of games where predominantly you're playing the teams that are in the bottom half of the table, aren't you? So how important is it that you get off to a good start in this set of games between now and, say, Christmas?
I wish it was that easy. It'd be good, wouldn't it, if you just automatically, but like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter whether they're top half or bottom. We're a bottom 4 team at the moment because the league tells us we are. So at the moment, I don't think there's any games we can turn up at and think we should get 3 points, because we're quite clearly not good enough to be that team at the moment. And whether we can change that with signings, with work on the training field, with all the stuff we need to do, injuries coming back, that's down to me to do. But at this precise moment, every single game, 3 points is like gold dust, and we need to do everything we can. Like I said, the minimum is we work our socks off, we stick to a game plan, we fight for each other, we have a team spirit, and if we can add quality, which I think we've lacked at times, then who knows.
Great, thank you.
Can we do Gabriel first?
Hi, so Chris Beach, the power manager coming up against. Have you got any past sort of relationship or meetings between you two?
No, I'm sure I've come across him in coaching capacity. I'm not so sure with management, but I'm sure we've come across each other. But he's done a fantastic job in a short time. I know Adam Murray well. I've come across Adam when he was at Mansfield. I'm sure he's done a great job there, and I'm sure it'll be a really, really tough game.
Unlike York and a lot of other teams nationally, Fylde don't really have an out-and-out sort of goal scorer who's really had a good season so far. They kind of get goals all over the pitch. Does that make it harder to defend against them, because you never know where the goal's going to come from?
I think they've got good players. I mean, listen, Nick Horton's been on everyone's radar for a long, long time. He's a very, very good player. He's got very, very good stats as a 10, goals, assists. You can say, right, he's their main man to stop, but Luke Jarman's been very, very good up top. The wingers have got pace and have assisted. The fullbacks have been bombing on, and they're both very strong on the data. You can go through it. People might look at our team and say, got to stop Depot, you know, when he plays, and that might be our problem. We haven't got enough outside of one or two that can open them up. I think a good team with goals from different areas of the team is much better than just trying to stop one player, and that's the problem we face. Is we're playing against a team with momentum, a team in good form, a team who believe in themselves, and away from home it's going to be tough.
Yeah, and talking about strikers and looking at your team, Aidan Marsh now gone back. Was that a shock to you, or did you kind of know it was coming?
No. Just happened on the Monday. I got a message. He was training with us on the Monday, and I got a message. He was injured at the weekend, even though I think we might have even had permission to play him, but he got injured. He clashed knees with the goalie in training. And then I got a call on Monday saying that they're calling him back. I think they've got someone on international duty. They've now got a cup replay. So it made sense for them, if he wasn't cup tied, to call him back and have the bodies. So, like I say, he's their player, and you know, we've got a good relationship with the club. So we thank them for letting us have him for the time we did.
Yeah, and now you've already mentioned you're trying to bring a striker in. What sort of profile are you looking for?
We're trying to bring more than one striker in. I just said I want 4. We need a bit of everything. You need the balance in the squad. You know, we need the physical side. You know, we might need that in games. We need pace. I don't think we've got enough pace in the team, not enough runners off the ball, which I'm working on in training, but sometimes it's ingrained in players that they like to come to feet rather than running behind. So we're looking at that. We're looking at in midfield, can we add more creativity? Can we add 1v1 domination in areas? Can we have different type of winger? Can we have, you know, all sorts? Can we have a left back that's more natural going forward? We're looking at all sorts to try and take the team to how I want to play. At the moment, I feel like I'm not hamstrung, but I feel like the system picks itself because of the bodies I've had. When you've only really had one forward fit for a period of time, it's hard to play a 4-4-2 or a 3-5-2 or whatever you wanted to play with 2 strikers. So we need to have options, and I need to have a strong bench. I need to be able to tell people to go hard for 65 and then bring on people that are just as effective with energy. We haven't had that, and that's what I mean. We're trying to stay competitive until we can put that together.
Yeah, looking at our team as well, Jack Stott, is he nearer to a return?
Jack Stott has returned, has been called back. He got called back last week by Hartlepool, so he's back at, by Middlesbrough. He's back there. He went, they called him back early last week.
Okay. And Mitch Hancock, I'm not sure if you've seen some of his comments on social media about how he wanted to get out of York and things like that. Does that sort of put any strain in your relationship at all with the two of you or not?
Listen, I don't do social media, and I'm sure I haven't even seen. I don't know what comments he's put, but you know, I'm sure if Mitch had something to say, he'd probably say it to me. I'm a pretty approachable guy. I've always stayed, you know, very honest with the lads. If they say, "Am I in your plans?" and I don't think they are, I'll tell them. If Mitch and his agent come to me on Sunday saying, "I've got a deal, Mitch really wants to do it, can we do it?" and was pestering me on a Sunday afternoon, and if I think that's the right thing for him and I can't promise him game time, then you do it. So there's no animosity.
Yeah, and the last one from me then. We've heard about your relationship with the Uglers and how they work. What are your past relationship, or well, the sort of conversation you've had with the supporters just then?
I haven't had any yet. I think there's certain things in the pipeline coming up. My main dealings, I'm not being funny, there has been so much for me to do at this football club. It's spinning plates doesn't even describe it. You know, I've had to not only try and do the recruitment with players, we're trying to recruit staff because we didn't have a sports scientist, we haven't got an analysis, we needed data analysis for recruitment, and we're putting it all in place. We didn't have a gym at the training ground, the food, all this kind of stuff. So there's been loads and loads and loads of stuff to do to improve this football club, and we are making them. And the frustrating thing for me is my work that I do until 9-10 o'clock at night watching players doing it, it's unnoticed at the moment because the only thing people will ever notice is the results. So have I made us more competitive? I think I have. We've only lost 4 in 14. Are we anywhere near I want us to be, or out of the danger zone or pushing forward? No, but we're working on it.
That's all for me, thank you.
Hi Neil, so let's talk FA Cup to begin with. If you win on Tuesday, you got Wigan, they've won 6 of the last 7. It's not ideal, but it's a big incentive, isn't it?
Everyone we seem to play is going on a run. I think Chester went on a 6-game winning run. Yeah, it's a home tie. We're the underdogs for a change. We've been playing against underdogs the last 2 rounds. So if, and it's a big if we get through Tuesday night, it's a great tie to look forward to. But we're under no illusions how tough Tuesday night will be first.
You've got no game, obviously, this week. So what does a typical Neal Ardley training week look like? What percentage do you spend on the pitch, you spend on the game plan? Do you have lots of one-to-ones with players as well?
Yeah, so we did, Monday was a part recovery for some, a good session for others. So when you have players who haven't been playing as much, one of the most important things you've got to get right is the distance they cover in training. Because if you've only got a group of 8 players, the natural thing is to do small-sided stuff, and by the time you finish, they've never really got the distance covered to rectify the fact they didn't play on Saturday. And then when the time comes 2-3 weeks down the line, they're losing fitness all the way along, and then you expect them to go and play well and they can't. So you're failing them. So the first thing we have to do is get the distance right for the players and the intensity they work at right, so that their loads for the week give them a chance of staying at a high level of fitness when they're needed. Then we did some video analysis on the game, on things we did well, things we can do better, situations, just to sort of say to the lads, look, if this happens again, this is how you deal with it. And we did that in the afternoon. Tuesday, it was all about fitness, so loads of stuff about things we can do better as a team within training, but the fitness element of it was tough, so they ended up, I think the squad ended up covering about 8.5k, loads of high intensity work, loads of small recoveries where they were tired when they were training, and then today we really focused hard on how we want to play, the game plan without naming the team, put players in different positions, but situations we've got to be better at, situations where we want to be good at and hurt the opposition. So we did loads of that, because tomorrow you've got to tweak that, say 6k that you covered today, 6.5k, you've got to tweak that down to about 4k and minimise the sprinting. So a lot more set pieces, throw-ins, stop, stand still, really nailing everything you did on the match prep on a Thursday where you could do it at intensity. You just filter it into, you've got to make sure they're fresh at 3 o'clock on a Saturday. So we'll go through all the nitty gritty, and then as we go into the game we do a video that backs up everything we've done during the week. Remember what we did in Tuesday, remember what we did in Thursday, that's that situation, and you do a video on the opposition, and hopefully that's the visual, the last bit they get. You've got to cover all the different learning styles, some of them learn kinesthetically, some of them audio visual, some can see it, some have to feel it. You've got to go through all these things to cover all the bases, and then 3 o'clock, you send them out there and you cross your fingers.
And they don't do anything you want them to do.
You go like that and you just hope for the best.
So let's look forward to Saturday then. AFC Fylde again on a better run of form, although they had a wobble. They lost from a winning position against Sutton. Is that something that you can play on?
No, I don't. I think that's an FA Cup tie. I'm really impressed with what I've seen. They had 2 different game plans. They blitzed Oldham at home. We know Oldham were on a good run and they were excellent. Really valuable for their win. And then they come up with a superb game plan against Gateshead, who were a very good footballing team away from home. My job's to kind of look and go, how will they approach us, and work out, trying to give my players the scenario so that they're ready for it in the game. The last thing you want is your players to go out and be like, oh, what do we do? They need to have all the scenarios and sort of say, like, come on, we've worked on this, we know what we're doing.
Deepo gave everybody a big lift when he came on against Chester. How is he? Is he okay?
He's okay. It's just, obviously, it's always fitness, Deepo needs to, he's a forward, he's an explosive player, he needs to be able to run hard, and I was always going to try and give him 30 on Saturday as a start point. He'd only trained for 2 days before, he'd had 2.5 weeks off, but you can lose fitness quickly. So this week for me has always been about his numbers, about getting them up. Is he ready for 90? I don't know, without risking injury, especially when we play Tuesday, Saturday. But is he ready potentially to start? Yeah. Obviously that's a decision I've got to make, depending on what shape we go for. But I've got to try and put a team out, the best team I can, to win Saturday, and then worry about Tuesday after.
Anyone coming back from injury at all?
A few. Adam Crooks has trained. I think Maz is due to start next week. Levy's just started light work. Ducky's been back a couple of weeks, but really needs to build. He's had a sort of whole new pre-season to get there. So it's good to have them boys back out on the training field. Obviously Stocky, as we know, is back. So it's good because you know, I haven't seen any of them or a few of them since I've been here, so it's nice to at least see them out on the training field.
With regards to bringing people in, what's the sort of process? Obviously, you see somebody, you want to jump on it. Are you allowed to do that even though you're still wanting to get people out? So do the Ugglers say, I tell you what, yeah, get somebody when you can and we'll worry about getting people out as and when you can?
Yeah, they have been like that. They know the need for us to improve, so they've been very much like, right, what do we need to do? But it hasn't been like, what do you reckon, casual conversations. It's been, you know, right, let's sit down, me, the staff, Matt, the chairman, we've got a new guy called Matthew, who's our data analysis, who's very good. And we all sit down and we go, what do we need? And what qualities do we need? And then you go through the positions, whether it's centre forwards, what type, what qualities you need to look, and Matt, the data analysis guy, can go through all the qualities you want and run them through different models and end up coming out with who scores the highest for the qualities you want. So then you go and watch on the back of who's at the top of the list coming out with all the qualities you want. Then you go and look, and it's brilliant. It tells you the type of player you are, whether it's a bombing on left back or somebody who's steady and defends well. The data will tell you. You'll watch the scores and you'll go, wow, that explains them two players just like that. So, but you know, building the model for each position with each qualities isn't something that just happens overnight. We then got to watch the players' advice. I think it's going to be an even longer process going towards the summer, and it will, you know, we'll really go into in depth. At the moment, we're trying to fast track it. Like I said before, just then, that you know, we don't want to get through 6 games and we still haven't made a decision on a player. We want to make them quickly, but if we're making them on players that we want to sign permanently, even if we're going to pay a transfer fee for, they've got to be right.
And finally, back to Saturday, hopefully a big away following as well. That makes a difference, doesn't it?
I think everywhere we've gone they've been. I mean, even down in Eastleigh, like, you know, I'm just going, wow, what a journey that is. So they've been unbelievable. And like I said at the start, you know, I'm not going to dress it up in any other way. It's the next few months will be tough. We've got to keep digging in, be competitive. I think they all look at the squad and go, you know, it needs to improve. We need to try and get some different qualities in there. But in the meantime, all they can ask for is me, my staff and my players work their socks off and give everything we've got and make sure we're doing everything to keep taking the club forward, and they'll get behind us. I think they've been incredible, and if they continue to support us through this time, hopefully we can give them some really good times.
Thanks, good luck.
Just talking a bit quickly about players again, and you've lost a couple of the players recently, but what is you wanting to add players? Which players are you sort of looking for? What characteristics or skills are that you're wanting?
I think we're looking for a bit more creativity at the top end, certainly in some positions, firepower in the centre forward positions to support the 2 we've got. 2 isn't enough, we need 4, we want competition. Midfielders that can unlock a game with the way we want to play, with that final pass, some 1v1 domination. So we're looking at players that can make a difference, because scoring goals is always the hardest thing in football. And then, you know, obviously we've talked about the fact we need balance on the left-hand side in the left-back spot. We feel like we've added good quality to the goalkeeping department, and then we'll look, you know, where we are after that. But certainly that's a lot of work to do.
And looking to this weekend's game, obviously AFC Fylde have been doing really, really well. But what are you sort of planning to sort of try and beat them in a little way, or sort of break their winning streak at the minute?
I don't want to tell their manager what it is now. The first and foremost is we need to identify what's made them win their games recently and the qualities that they've got, particularly in their forward players. Make sure we're aware of them, make sure we know our jobs and how we're going to not be opened up. You know, the last thing we want to do is be chasing a game, and we've got to make sure that we're strong in them areas. But then on the flip of that, we've got to be good with the ball. We've got to know how we can play. We've not got important not to get caught between 2 stools, neither playing or going long, and then you make it easy for the opposition. You have to cover all the bases. It is a constant spinning plate scenario, and I think eventually when the team really clicks and you get the, you know, qualities you want, and you've got a flow to your team and there's momentum and confidence, these things become a lot more natural.
And just looking to the Tuesday game as well, what sort of plans have you got in place maybe to make that not a 0-0 draw again? What are you sort of hoping to do differently?
I'd try and focus one game at a time. If I look ahead to that one, I'll take my eye off the ball on Saturday, which is the most important one. We'll get through Saturday, we'll count the bodies, we'll see what we've got, and then we'll try and come up with a game plan to win the cup tie, not go to extra time, and hopefully, you know, get a good, obviously a really good tie in the next round.
That's all from me. Thank you.